Hey guys, it's 1437 here. As you can see on the screen at the moment, I am currently ranked number 36, and I mainly did that playing Aqua builds. So in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about the advanced version to the Aqua plant build. But if you're looking for the starter build, then you can check that out in the description below. We got a video for you there. So let's just get to it. Starting with the tank. So I mentioned this in the starter build that the only plant we really need with Aquas is the cactus, pumpkin, Sirius, hotbud plant as we see right here, full plant parts because we want it to be very slow, high HP so we can get off that cactus. It's very easy to play. You got the energy steal, you got the shield, you got the hotbud to turn off the enemy Sirius so that they cannot steal the following turn, and you can pass freely and you can get your energy stored up. The other version that you can play over this plant would be the Bidens plant, essentially removing the pumpkin, putting in the Bidens. This is much better against poison teams because against poison teams, this sort of becomes your carry, especially when the poison teams tend to go into your midline and your backline more. And then you can always use the Bidens to stay alive, remove the poison, use the cactus and the hotbud to be able to kill them later on in the game, even in 1v1 situations. So these two are pretty much the main two plant Axies that I use. Please don't buy any leaf bug plants when you're playing Aquas. Leaf bug plants don't provide any real damage, and Aquas just need damage from the plants to be able to kill the enemy frontliner, so you can store up your cards on your Aquas to be able to kill the midline and the backline much easier instead of having to spend all your midline and backline cards just to get rid of the enemy plant. All right, moving on to the Nemo here. The only real big thing that you should think about when you're buying a upgraded version to the Nemo midliner is that you're gonna need some kind of bug or beast damage there, because that's what Aqua lacks. They lack the ability to be able to kill plants, reptiles, and dusk easily. So I got some Axies for you guys here, starting with the dual blade one. This is probably the highest, most consistent damage output beast for the Nemo. It's very strong. It's got 130 damage. When you pair it up with the risky fish, I believe it does about 188 damage to enemy plants, reptiles, and dusk. Dusk a little bit less because of how their body works, but to plants and reptiles it should be around 188 damage. So it's a very strong card. I think this is probably the ideal midliner, very good in all situations, but I'm gonna show you a few more of them that you can choose from. Maybe the dual blade one might be a little too expensive. So here we got the Pocky Nemo. It's very strong. This is actually my personal favorite. I like it more than playing the dual blade, and that's because I also like to play bug tanks sometimes. So in this video, we're obviously just talking about the plant, but in future videos, we will be mentioning bug and Pocky builds with Aquas, which is really fun to play. I'm looking forward to making that one for you guys. But here, the Pocky, it does just 5 less damage. It's very similar damage output, really strong, but if you have a bug, then this one is actually much better. And also in terms of stats, we just want it to be as fast as it can be, so I just set the pureness to 5 out of 6 just so that we can have it be fast. Another alternative here is going to be the little branch, very similar to the other two horns. It does 125 damage with a little bit more shield than the Pocky at 25. The effect doesn't really work at the moment. Little branch, how to trigger it, you actually need to use 2 plant cards on the same Axie. So if you have it on this Nemo, the ability isn't going to trigger, but at the same time, all we're really getting, why we're getting this little branch anyway, is so that we can have that mixed beast slash bug damage on our Nemo. We got another one here, also pliers, very strong. The way that you use pliers a little bit more different than the beast cards. Also, you're gonna be 1 movement speed slower. The pliers does extra damage when you attack into their shield. It can get a little bit awkward, especially if you're using your backliner to attack first. So sometimes finding use for the pliers might be rather difficult. And if you want to use it with the risky fish, try to use the risky fish the turn before and then use the pliers the turn after, so you can get that bonus damage with the pliers. And if you can do that, then in that situation, pliers is just much better. Another thing I should note about pliers is I actually prefer to play pliers Nemo with lamb. Just because it has more armor and it can also deal more damage later on. Pliers doesn't really need you to use risky fish first before you use it, so it just kind of has a little bit more synergy in my opinion here, and maybe it'll cost a little bit more, but I do believe that it is worth it with the lamb. And then here we have another example of a, well, this is more of a expensive endgame Nemo build. You got the sandal in the back, but because we have the sandal in the back, we won't be having Goldfish to be able to speed us up. So to replace that, we got the Arcos on our horn part, and this is really cool because you're going to be able to have a speed up ability where you can control, so the enemy doesn't have to attack you in order for you to speed up. You can actually speed up yourself. Then you got the risky fish plus a sandal that does a lot of damage, and on top of that you got insane amount of armor, so you can actually brick wall as a midliner. And as you can see with the other midliners that I showed you, they don't really have that much armor in their build. It's mainly like 30-30 or 30-20 armor, so you're a little bit flimsy, but at the same time there are other Nemo builds that can have a little bit more armor, but I just don't like them that much. I do prefer the more aggressive Aqua builds, just to be able to bring your opponents down very quickly. Don't let them come online, especially with so many poison teams running around. I feel like the brick wall Aquas just don't tend to do that well at the moment. But this one has a mix of very high damage output, but also the brick wall potential, and that's probably why it is so expensive. I actually bought one just now because I feel like they're at a pretty decent price at the moment, and I really wanted one of these in my inventory to be able to make other teams with it. So yeah, this is pretty much the Nemos. Again, just all about the beast or the bug damage, and they're just out there to be able to kill the enemy plants or their midline reptiles while our backliner can save cards and just be able to clean up. Alright, now moving on to Koi Aquas. I call the Koi Aquas the cleanup Aqua because this Aqua can actually win battles even 1 versus 3 because of the ability to be able to speed up as long as you have sufficient energy to be able to kill your opponent. As you can see right here, I pulled up some of the zero cost cards. There's 2 ways to be able to play Koi Aquas. One is with a mix of a zero cost card, but there's very specific ones that you want to be playing with your Koi, and some of them is one hero. This is really good. You get 60 damage. The tooltip here is kind of wrong at the moment, but yeah, you get 60 damage. It's a little bit of beast damage as well. Another really good one is Balloon. It gives you a lot of outplay potential. It is a bird card as well, so you're going to be able to maintain that 57 speed on your Koi, but you don't have any armor, just like the hero. And my personal favorite here, Cuckoo. Cuckoo is absolutely amazing. It's got 40 shield, lets you keep that 57 speed as well on your Koi Aqua, and then you got the plus attack. And then the other one I like here is the Bidens. The Bidens with the 50 armor, really strong, lets you tank a lot of situations. And then you got the remove of the debuff, so if you're playing against poison teams, this is an excellent Axie to have. Koi plus Bidens. And the main reason why we want these zero costs is so that we have the ability to be able to remove stuns, but also just to be able to manage our energy a little bit better. So here's an example of one of the zero cost, and actually my personal favorite. I call them Rapier. This is one of the first upgrades I ever made to my team. Until now, I play this Axie because I just love it. Here we have Koi with the Cuckoo, like I said, the one that I really like, Piranha, and Blue Moon. The reason why we have Blue Moon is because we do need at least one range card. If we're playing against Graveland, it's going to be a problem. So having that range card is really nice. And then I'm playing Piranha over Risky Fish because normally I have plenty of beast slash bug damage on my midliner who deals with their reptiles and their dusk Axies. And then this build allows me to win a lot more in mirror matchups against other kois because I can always play 2 kois and then the 2 cuckoos to tank up, and then the following turn I can dish out 2 cards that deal 120 damage each. Or if I am playing, let's say, against a Biden's koi in the backline, I can always play the cuckoos the previous turn and then go in with 2 piranhas and 2 blue moons, and that will kill that Axie. So there's a lot of potential with this. Some people do like the risky fish for the extra bonus damage against reptiles and dusk, but this is just my personal favorite. Now, the second way to be able to play with this Koi Aqua, you can play it without a 0 cost. It is going to be a little bit harder against disables. That being said, though, we have a lot more damage against those Axies that typically disable you, which are reptiles and dusk. So in this build, we're gonna replace our back card with a risky beast. So we're gonna add a beast damage card. So instead of just trying to remove the stuns, we're gonna just try to plow through those reptiles or dusk. We got the risky fish into the risky beast combo. That is an insane amount of damage against those reptile slash dusk bodies. We still got the speed up. Shoalstar is good. We can also go with Oranda if we want to. Another option here, something even more super end game, very expensive Axie though. We can go with the koi plus the cuckoo, risky beast, and risky fish. So we have the 0 cost available there, and we got that beast damage. The only flaw to this Axie is if you're playing in a mirror matchup against another Koi Aqua who also has a cuckoo or a Biden's, you're gonna be in a tougher situation, especially if they appear with Koi and cuckoo, because they're gonna be faster than you and they're gonna be having a lot more damage to you because you have a beast damage card that's not going to do enough damage back to them. So they're going to have a little bit more options there. But in the current meta, with so many reptile bodies running around, this Axie is just insanely strong, but it is very, very expensive. So it might be out of your budget. And then we got one more over here. We got the koi with the Pocky risky goldfish. Again, no 0 cost, but I don't mind playing this Axie. It is one that I do own, and the reason for it is because it's got plenty of damage with the risky fish plus Pocky combo, but it can also be played with a bug frontliner, and in that combo, this Pocky actually deals 198 damage with the risky fish. So that is an incredible amount. So it doesn't matter if you're playing against Terminators with stuns, because you can always play the risky fish into a Pocky to just be able to plow through them. And then with the goldfish, you're always going to be faster than your opponent, and you won't have to think too much about your koi. So that's it for the aquas that I want to show to you guys in this current video. There's a lot of different builds that you can go for, but I feel like these are the very solid builds and they come at a relatively good price. I think with any of these Axies, you can actually reach top 1000, if not top 100, because there have been other players, and myself included, who have reached that point with these kind of Axies. So that's it for the advanced Aqua plant video. Thank you guys so much for sticking to the very end. I really appreciate it. Please do like and subscribe this video. If you have any questions or want to see how this team is executed, you can always watch me live at twitch.tv/1437. We're going to be bringing you so much content. So see you in the next one.